How y'all doing? My name is Cam Golden, SAAC President here at Kent State University. We wanted to spend some time to highlight some of our amazing women in leadership that we have on campus for our One MAC week. Thank you. Let's get into it. Do you mind telling us who you are and what you do?
My name is Suzette McQueen. I'm the Deputy Athletic Director, Senior Women Administrator at Kent State University.
You one of the pillars of Kent State University, one of our leaders. Can you tell us one of your favorite parts about serving in leadership?
Well, it's definitely working with the student athletes and being in an environment where we're allowed to be creative in our space, in our external space. You know, Randall gives us the freedom to try new things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we have the ability to be nimble and work with a great staff that's always open to new ideas. So that's a very rewarding part of the job, but also seeing what we can bring to the student athletes is probably the most rewarding.
Can you talk about some of the hardest part of your roles and how do you overcome them?
Probably the hardest part would be resources, either not having enough people or enough funding to do all the wonderful things that we think of. So we have all these great ideas, but you have to be mindful of what we really can, realistically do. So that's a challenge because, you definitely want to provide the best experience for students, but not being able to always have the resources to do it is probably the most challenging part.
What advice will you give to the younger generations that want to serve in leadership, and definitely in sports?
I actually met with a student today who was very stressed out about what she was going to do with her career. And I tried to explain to her that it's not a destination. Like, you don't become something and then that's it. I wanted her to just understand that everything that she does, she'll learn from that, and it'll continue to make her a more experienced professional. But there's never an end. And what I do today is not something I'll be doing 5 years from now. She was so focused on just trying to get the perfect job, but there is no perfect job, and it won't be the only job she ever has. So just thinking of it more as every opportunity that you have takes you to another place and expands your opportunities, and not focusing on just that one position. Because my job has changed over the years. I've been in college athletics over 20 years, and I started off as an SID in communications. I didn't know where I'd end up, what state I'd be, where I live and stuff like that. So I think it's just more about not putting an end result on it and just enjoying each part of the journey and taking it for what it is.
How do you maintain your confidence in an environment where you might be the only woman in the room?
It is exhausting sometimes. I mean, it's not like it's all roses and happy and fun. I mean, sometimes it is exhausting, and you do need to find ways to replenish yourself, refill your cup, whether it's, personal hobbies or working out or your family and friends. So knowing that there are times where it takes a lot out of you to represent everybody, but also being confident, knowing that your voice matters. You don't always have to speak though all the time. I mean, sometimes you're a good listener. You take in the information, you speak when there's something to say, but certainly it comes from experience, and it comes from, being confident in your position, certainly. But talking just to talk is not helpful, but being a good listener is probably the better skill. And then when you find something that's passionate that you need to talk about, you talk about it. But it can be tiring, and you just have to find ways to, like I said, replenish your cup and be able to go back. Like they say, put on your mask first before you put on your child, on the airplane. You got to take care of yourself in order to then take care of other people.
I love that. I just want to say thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for offering to having me be part of it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Do you mind just telling us who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. My name is Maggie McKendry. I'm Associate Athletic Director for Athletic Philanthropy.
Can you tell me just about award experience in your role? What do you love about your role and what you do?
In my role, a big piece of what I do is impact our student athletes. And I knew that would be something in this job that I found really fulfilling going into it. What I didn't expect was how fulfilling it is to see our donors realize the impact that they're making. I just was really only thinking about the one side of the student athlete side of it, but seeing our donors watch a building be opened or see a new uniform on one of our teams that they know that they gave toward has turned out to be even more fulfilling, I think, in some instances than just, connecting people back to our student athletes and to our university.
Can you tell me about a hard experience in your role that you had to deal with and how you overcame that?
The biggest piece, at least in my role, is the assumption that because I'm a female, I can't fundraise for sports. And I just, have a philosophy of do the right thing, keep pushing forward. And I like to have my work be the proof of my success. And I think raising over $15 million for this institution is probably speaking for itself.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's leading to my next question. What's one of your favorite memories you have, or an award that you had in your time that you think of?
You know, one of my favorite memories, which probably isn't a great memory for most people, but was coming back from COVID. We had new leadership and we were kind of rebuilding everything. And the camaraderie and the teamwork that it took to bring this department back to life and to rebuild during, that year and those months, I look back on that as some of the most fulfilling work I've been able to do.
What advice would you give to a little girl or somebody that want to follow your footsteps and do what you do?
Share your thoughts unapologetically, obviously respectfully, but unapologetically. And trust yourself and your skills. Don't be intimidated. If you're the only woman in the room, you're there because of your skills, not because of your gender. And so just remember that and lean on yourself.
How do you maintain your confidence when you probably the only woman in the room?
I like my work quality to be the example of my success, but I also try to remind myself and try to work really hard to be my own biggest advocate. While I may have a great work product, if I'm not telling anybody about it, they're not going to know about it. And so making sure you're sharing your successes, boast when you need to, because if you're doing great things, people should know you're doing it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Do you mind just telling us who you are and what you do?
Jessie Ely, Associate AD, Athletics Chief of Staff, and then I'm going on my 7th year with Kent State Athletics.
Can you tell us what's a hard part of your role and how do you overcome it?
So when I started out, I started as a special assistant. A lot of people don't really know what that role is, and there's not a direct career path for internal operations. So as my position has evolved, I've just tried to put myself in opportunities where I can continue to grow and get those tools, and then also voice my career aspirations. That has allowed me for my position to evolve into what it is today. And you really just have to have the confidence to share, your aspirations, so you don't just get stuck in being in a position where a lot of people don't understand what you do.
Can you talk to me about some of the things you love about your role?
I get to connect with everyone. I call myself the connector. I get to really know everyone in our department. And that kind of leads into my role with HR is I help onboard everyone that we hire. So I get to learn about new people and why they chose Kent State, and also get to talk about why I love Kent State so much and why we want you to come here and lead our young people.
Do you have a memory that you have that, that you really enjoy, that you hold precious?
Being here 7 years, there's so many memories. I truly love what I do every single day. I think when I think of favorite memories, it comes back to our championship experiences. And when I'm in the crowd and I'm looking around, I see our president, I see vice presidents, I see donors, community members, normal fans. Just seeing that all bring all the people together is really my favorite moment. And then also seeing other student athletes in the crowd supporting their fellow student athletes, and just knowing that, their sweat and tears every day really brings a community together and elevates the brand of Kent State.
Yeah, so you spoke on how you've been here for 7 years, so you have a lot of experience. So can you talk about advice you would give somebody that's in year one that want to follow your footsteps?
I would tell someone in year one that just to take every opportunity as a learning experience, because there is no playbook in life. Yeah. And you really have to just learn how to build your own tool belt so you can then feel confident in those tools and learn that will kind of shape your career path in the way you want to go. So just allowing yourself those opportunities, and it's okay to not have a direct path, but as you feel more confident, you will see the path evolving as you evolve as a person.
You spoke on confidence. How do you maintain your confidence when you one of the few women that's in the room?
When you're in those hard moments, you just need to think about who you are as a person, your why you're working in sports. And that will allow you to just stay true to yourself and be able to feel confident on what you're speaking about or what you need help with. I think that's the most beautiful thing about sports is we're a team. So you're never alone. And if you are alone, it's because you're isolating yourself. So just being able to speak up for yourself and just share what you need from others, because there's so many awesome people in this industry and they're here to help you get through that and be together as a team.
Wow, I love that. You dropped some gems. I want to really appreciate your time coming here today. So, yes, ma'am, do you mind introducing yourself right now?
No problem. My name's Amy Dunsevich, Associate Athletic Director for Academics, and also oversee student athlete development and sport oversight of softball.
You mind just quickly touching on one of the hardest part of your role?
Yeah, so one of the hardest part of my roles is, I would say, balancing all of my roles. So not only roles within athletics, working with academics, student athlete development, working and traveling with softball, but also my role as a mom. and being there for my children. I have a senior and a freshman, but really learning to be where my feet are. And I always say it's not overcoming your roles, right? But it's learning how to manage them. And I've really taken a deep dive this year into learning to be where my feet are, being there for the student athletes when they need me, but also being there for my family too.
Can you talk about something that you love about your role that you didn't expect to like, but you really do?
What I really enjoy most about my role is watching the growth of our student athletes. I get the pleasure of meeting with student athletes on recruiting visits. So I sit down and I tell them all about Kent State with their families, mom, dad, high school coach, club coach, as well as them. And then watching their transition to college, watching that growth from coming in as a scared freshman, right? You remember that a few years ago, right? Scared freshman to watching him to graduation. And now being on the flip side of student athlete development, helping them pursuing their passions in their careers and moving forward. So that's such an exciting time because that's such a big part of a college student's life is that growth. So being a part of that is so rewarding and what I enjoy most.
And do you have like a specific memory that you like look back on that you precious?
I would say some of probably the best memories I have here at Kent State are the opportunities to celebrate our student athletes. So when we have our Judy Devine Athletic Academic Honors Award Banquet, being able to celebrate the success of what they've done in the classroom. So that is a big deal. And being able to celebrate the trailblazer who also endows that banquet as well, Judy Devine. Wouldn't be here without her. So just to have an academic honors banquet in her honor, but also some of my best memories are the Golden Flashes Gala, right? Seeing you and Q on stage last year, being the MC, and just again, celebrating the success of our student athletes in their respective sport is what I like. So again, those are some of my best memories of just being able to celebrate our student athletes and all their success, not only in the classroom, but also in the playing field.
Yeah. So like what advice would you give a young person that's trying to grow and trying to get into the world of athletics?
I would say, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Talk to people. There's so much in athletics that sometimes people aren't aware of, students aren't aware of because they're only exposed to a coach or maybe an athletic director, but there's so many different layers to athletics. And get in there and ask people questions. Don't be afraid to job shadow. Don't be afraid to do internships with some of the areas that you might have an interest in, or maybe you don't know you have an interest in until you job shadow for a day and you get that opportunity to learn. But just don't be afraid to put yourself out there and ask questions. That's how you learn best.
How do you keep your resilience and confidence in the room when like you want a few women in the room?
I would say trust yourself and what you're passionate about. I think self-confidence, just like in sports, is always tested. And I think within sports, you've got to learn to dust yourself off, stand up, and continue to pursue what you're passionate about. But I think something that I've learned throughout my career is also know who your support system is. When you are having those challenging times, when you've been knocked down, who you can go to and who you can trust to kind of, again, help you dust yourself off and get back out there.
Wow, that's amazing. I really want to appreciate your time, Miss Amy.
Thanks, Cam.
For talking to me. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
I appreciate it.